Wait, last thing. I don't like the Jets, and they're in my house because he do, okay?
Well, hey,
You're
good
welcome.
host.
You're welcome.
Really good host.
Okay? You freaking jerk.
Now we can pop the balloons.
Jerk, jerk.
Oh, yeah, baby. What's up? That's right. That was a little clip from Chris Simms Unbuttoned in the barn with Connor Rogers. I'm glad that my man Devin McCourty wasn't there either, though, because I don't want the Patriots balloons either. It was enough that I had to put the damn Jets balloons, all right? But we gave him a little love. I let Ahmed have some few Lions balloons,
I can see that.
Okay? We had the Giants balloons, of course. I had to give Shanahan and John Lynch a little love, so there's a few 49ers.
Okay.
I didn't want his wife or anybody in his family getting
Look at
after
you
me.
spreading the love.
What the hell? Where's the damn 49ers balloon? So I didn't do that. Special edition of Chris Simms Unbuttoned here today, though. Ahmed Fareed at the Kentucky Derby. He's out of here, so see ya. He's with the horses. All right? But we got Connor Rogers, my favorite, all right? My buddy. He's my side piece. That's what I call him, okay? He's my side piece, right? When I want to cheat on Ahmed, I go, hey, let's go to Connor Rogers.
You
And
accept your
then...
role?
Yeah, 6 times a year we'll call it.
6 times a year.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's
Just
wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Come on in to the show, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's
Special
perfect.
occasions.
And then look at
I don't
who
even
we
want to
got
know what I
here.
am.
No.
I don't even want to know.
You're the man to me right now. You came in with the proper top button swagger attire here, so I can't say anything about
Nice
you.
and neat, yeah.
But Devin McCourty here. We're gonna talk draft. Thanks for coming in as always. I appreciate it.
Feeling out of
Yeah,
place.
and Connor,
Let's
I
go,
mean,
Connor.
feel free
Let's
to
go.
join the
Let's go.
club.
What we can do here.
Feel free. You might as well. All right, you might as well. You look good with the top button swag.
This
This
Devin,
is tough.
good.
A little tight, but it's all right.
You guys got muscles.
3
You got more
across.
muscles than me. You could definitely pull it off. But yeah, we're gonna have a good show. We got some winners and losers stuff. We're gonna unpack some of the drafts, some of the camp battles we're gonna see throughout the off season here because of some of these draft picks and whatever else. But I'll hand it off to you, Connor. You can take charge from here on out.
Well, listen, you said it. We had a great time at the barn, man. The draft was awesome. The YouTube comments were loving it as well. They were pretty hilarious watching us. Don't take a shot every time Simms touches Connor or Ahmed. You will perish in 5 minutes.
No shots or no hits at the bong. You would have been totally.
Simms looks at Connor like he's his son every time Rogers brings some high-level analysis nuggets. I appreciate that about you, Chris.
Well,
You're a good fatherly figure.
Well,
Look
you're-
at that. Look at
I am a proud papa.
You are, yeah,
I'm
that's
a
great.
proud papa. I mean, I've known this guy since he's a young little whippersnapper,
That's
just
true.
putting things in the computer at Bleacher Report.
That's right, 11
Who the
years
hell
ago.
Is this guy with these pecs here working the computer?
I've grown
That's what
up
I
now.
used to say, right? And damn, he's got a lot of football questions for me all the time. Who is he? But like, first off, yeah, when you're riding in the middle, okay, and I've just touched you twice, I think, so
Yeah.
far.
That's a quarterback.
Yeah, I
though.
guess it is.
Quarterback.
Yeah, it has to be,
It's
right?
just like I went, hey, receiver,
guys are
shut
aggressive,
up. You
yeah.
know, when I'm trying to tell you what the play is. Like, hey, right? So yeah, it is a quarterback thing. I think a little of that, and then when you're in the middle, and it's a guy that hasn't been around a lot, to where sometimes I was like, I'm so used to me and Ahmed doing it till going, damn, I need to involve
welcome,
Connor
yeah.
here and get him into the
You're
conversation.
engaging.
He's
Yes.
got some stuff. So I tried to do that, and I probably get too touchy-feely that way. Don't call HR on me. All right?
No, HR. We don't even know what that is going from our Bleacher Report days.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You can't spell Chris without HR. Let me just say that.
Listen, guys, but so many people do winners and losers after the draft. What we want to start with is actually the quarterbacks, the veteran quarterbacks, who ends up a winner and loser because of what their teams did in the draft. And we have to start with Josh Allen, which has been a big discussion point, to the point where Brandon Beane on their local radio, WGR 550 Sports Radio in Buffalo, got a little testy about the lack of help at the wide receiver position. Listen to this.
I was just listening to the last few minutes of your show before I came on, waiting on here.
All right.
Sounds like 2018 all over with you guys. Well, you guys were bitching in 2018 about Josh Allen. You guys wanted Josh Rosen, and now you guys are bitching that we don't have a receiver. I don't get it. Like, we just hold on, let me talk. We just scored 30 points in a row for 8 straight games. You just saw us lead the league in points. You just saw us do it without Stephon Diggs, same group. How is this group not better than last year's group? Our job is to score points and win games. Where do we need to get better? Defense. We did that. So I get it. You got to have a show, and you got to have something to bitch about. But bitching about wide receiver is one of the dumbest arguments I've heard. I get it. I'm just like, let's be realistic. Our job is not to have. It's not fantasy football, like to trot out the best receivers. You got Josh Allen. First thing you got to do is protect him. You can't have everything. You can't have Pro Bowl wide receivers and have a Pro Bowl offensive line and an all-pro quarterback and 3 great running backs. I'd love to play fantasy football, but there's one football, Jeremy. There's one ball. You can't give it to but so many people. So that's where I'm like, I don't understand this narrative. I felt it a little bit from a couple of the reporters and the thing. Like, if you score points at the level we scored, that is winning football.
So that was Bills GM Brandon Beane, pretty defensive. The Bills' first 5 picks in the draft this year, guys, were allocated towards defense. The 6th pick was Jackson Hawes, the blocking tight end out of Georgia Tech. If you were a player on that roster, do you like hearing this? Because it's kind of saying, like, we like our room, right? And they just signed Josh Palmer as well, which is
right.
a damn good wide receiver.
Yeah.
So usually when people get sensitive like this, you're like, but I actually kind of agree with everything he said there.
I hear it. Go ahead. You got it.
No,
Take it off here.
I agree 100%. And we talk about this all the time of once you pay these quarterbacks and you feel like you have a guy, and I thought Josh Allen did that this year. Stephon Diggs leaves. Everyone's talking about who they're going to bring in, what's going to happen.
Right.
And they bring in Cooper. And, I mean, started off, had some big catches, but at the end of the season,
non-existent.
Non-existent.
Right,
and
right.
I think they realized it was like, hey, put guys out there, Josh Allen will make them better. Just like we talked about with Tom Brady and those type of quarterbacks of get guys that can play their role. He'll figure out where they need to go, and he'll go play winning football. But if you score 30 points a game and you give up 35 to 40 points a game, you're going to continue to lose or not win the game against the teams you need to beat.
Right.
So I look at this as we're not trying to win Josh Allen MVP. We're not trying to have the best record in the NFL at the end of the regular season. We're trying to win the one game we keep losing.
That's right.
And we need to invest in our defense
and
to
our
win
team.
that game.
Exactly. They got to do it our team. He can cover the few holes on the offensive side of the ball, even though there's not a lot of holes anyways, to his point.
Right.
And I'm usually with you, Connor, in the fact, and I think we all are a little bit, like I don't like to hear GMs or coaches complain a lot, but this one was justified. Yeah. And I think he had like the right touch. It wasn't personal. It was a little bit like.
It's kind of funny.
It was kind of funny.
Josh Rosen is like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Wherever he is.
It was very real and upfront, and of course he's got a victory lab he can do for the rest of his life. But
right.
I took Josh Allen over Josh Rosen, okay? So because of that, he's also, they're under pressure there in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. They got to win. He also knows the politics of the sport a little bit, and that, yes, the local radio station can start up a theme that just like catches fire, and all of a sudden you're like, man, all of a sudden everybody, this is all they were talking about. But I think like you hit on it the right way. First off, I mean, offensively, they're expecting and looking at it going, Khalil Shakir's good, and he's only going to get better. We're going into, year 3, right? All right, so then we got Keon Coleman. It's the 33rd pick of the draft from 2 years ago. He's going to get better. We're banking on that. Dalton Kincaid, still very early in his career. Yep. He's going upwards. Dawson Knox is pretty good. We have an offensive line that I would say is top 5-ish in football. And a running back that they haven't paid yet that we know is a top running back in the game, too. I'm not going to say he's top 1, 2, or 3, but he's damn good, right?
No doubt.
And he can catch the ball out of the backfield and be a receiver that way. And, of course, he runs well. So I think they're looking at it and going, yeah, we scored 42 points in a game and lost to the Rams. Like, what are you talking about? The Ravens playoff game, we never stopped them the whole time. Lamar did a flip 360 and fumbled, right? Mark Andrews dropped a pass that Lamar could have thrown better, and he dropped it, whatever. Damn, Isaiah likely fumbles over the middle wide open. Like, at no point did they stop it. So, yeah, they need big-time playmakers on that side of the ball. I like what they did. And, I think you and I have been in agreement for a while. They've been covering holes there with good coaching instead of, really good players. So I have no problem with the approach.
They have versatility on offense. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Like, everyone wants to have this star guy, but then you get in games and you get in the playoffs, you double team, you do different things to take them away. But, even a guy like Curtis Samuel, they have, he comes up in different situations where he's in the backfield. As a defense, when you come into that game against Buffalo, you're saying, okay, we have to be ready for Cook. We got to be ready for Shakir in the slot. Oh, yeah, what is Palmer going to be at? Where's Sammy going to be at?
Yeah, right.
Hey, is Ray Davis going to play a little bit today? They have so many different weapons. And, oh, yeah, before you forget, Josh Allen in the playoffs, he's also going to run the ball 10 or 12 times.
Right.
It's just so many things to worry about. Defensively, like you just said, Kansas City game, they had 2 chances on 3rd down to get a stop, get the ball back, and win the game. And the only thing we talked about was, should they have gone for it on 4th down on offense? Forget the defensive chances you had to get stops. Let's just only talk about the quarterback sneak on 4th down, because the whole team was based on Josh Allen in the offense. I give Bean credit. Change that up.
Yeah, good for Bean. I got no problem with doing what he did there. A good draft. They're a good football team. We know that. They need more blue chip players on the defensive side of the ball. Harrison is an island corner that I really liked on the outside. And you got Joey Bosa in free agency, and then they invested in some big people in the middle of their D too. So they're going to be a better football team. But yeah, offensively was not one of the areas where I was going, oh, they need a lot of help here. So good for him, and we know the Bills are going to be one of those teams. Last thing on that, this is what I wanted to hit on. When he went through, like, nobody has this or this, I wanted to be like, well, the Eagles do.
Yeah.
They have 2 all-pros.
That's why they won the
have
Super
an
Bowl.
awesome line.
Yeah.
They got an all-pro running back. Right?
And they won the Super Bowl.
They're the cheat code.
That would have been a good counter,
right now.
but I understand the host probably letting him go off. Let's let him get this out of the system right now. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, another team that's trying to actually get back into contention, not just get over the hump like the Bills, but the Cowboys coming off a disappointing season by their standards. And listen, this was a really good draft for Dallas. They get Tyler Booker, obviously, in the first round, which will help Dak Prescott.
Definitely.
The big talking point, though, around Dak Prescott right now is that after CeeDee Lamb at pass catcher, it's either Jalen Tolbert or Jonathan Mingo, who they traded a 4th-round pick for, Chris. Do you have some concerns about that number 2 pass catcher in this offense?
Just another weapon in general, right? I don't even that's why I thought maybe Omarion Hampton might go there at 12. They just need somebody that can. We can't have every play in the playbook designed for CeeDee Lamb to be the number 1 read. And like he just said with Buffalo, when you start to play the good teams or whatever, that's just not going to get it done. You'll get it done against the poor teams in the football, but when you play the good defenses with talent and a good D coordinator, they're going to be like, wait, we know how to take CeeDee Lamb away, and then what else happens after that? So I was a little surprised they didn't address it. You said it right, though. The first 3 picks are, awesome. I mean, they could be superstars, really. And I understand Tyler Booker at 12. When you got to play the Eagles twice a year, the Giants twice a year, and the Commanders twice a year, you start to go, we better have some people in the block. It doesn't matter who's throwing or catching the ball. So I do, if we had to say winners or losers or quarterbacks or whatever else, I do feel for Dak here in that, yes, they still have to address the offense and get another playmaker here.
How good can Jaylon Blue be? He's a Texas guy. Like he's a guy that can
make some
weapon.
plays. He definitely can. Like he's not a bell cow guy, but if you get him a screen, I think Connor would agree, in space,
pass catcher.
He can go. He's definitely a guy that can go 70 yards if it's a straight line, like in the run game too. But yeah, he's not going to be, I think, your every down bell cow guy.
He's small, but they gave him a good route tree, which is a good sign. Like wheel route, angle route. I love the swing pass to him was like,
because
here's a swing pass and run.
He goes.
Right. So maybe Dallas has plans for him in the pass game in that light. But you know, then after that, even the depth of this wide receiver class, they got a couple in the UDFA process that'll compete to make the roster guys, but they just didn't attack they're not role players right away. They're maybe going to make the back end at best. So
and I look at this as Dak has to erase some of these issues. Like that's what you signed up for. You signed Dak Prescott, you bring him back, you do all of those things because, hey, like, we're paying you to erase some issues, and we're going to make those issues as threats. Like, we're going to do a good job protecting you. If we can protect you, we need you to get us in and out of bad plays. If we call a play, you get to the line of scrimmage, you don't like it, get us in a better play that helps. Maybe it's getting it to Ferguson more. Maybe he becomes more of a threat for them. He's a guy that can work the middle of tight end. But I think that's going to be the key. But I agree with you. When you look at their division, when you look at Washington, you look at Philly, the Giants are still trying to figure some things out. It's like, how good can Dallas be? Because they're not like every other team. You have to go out there each year. It's, are you going to make it to a conference championship? Can you make it to a Super Bowl? So, yes, I think Dak's a loser from the standpoint of every other team in your division. It looks like they're closer to getting to that spot than you are. Yeah. And I think that's where we're trying to see, is Dak going to be that guy that when we walk away, we say, put him in that category.
I know. And that's going to be the question with him. I would agree with you there. And it's something to me, again, where their contract situations in Dallas don't make sense all the time.
Yeah. Right.
And, yes, you're paying him, to your point, and we were talking about this a little bit before the show, you're paying him like he's the top quarterback in the game.
Right.
Like, that's your fault. And then he better start giving me results like Lamar or Josh Allen or Mahomes. And I don't see that. And I think in the hierarchy of quarterbacks, like, Dak Prescott is maybe dances around the edge of the top 10, right? You might have him 9, I might have him 11, whatever, but he's around that
Top
area.
12
top 12,
is,
13 for sure. But again, that doesn't necessarily make sense for good team building when it goes, wait, the 13th best player at your position is the highest paid guy in football, then, yeah, you're going to have some holes on your roster.
Yep.
Right.
Those first 3 picks, to me, is them telling you they think their best path to winning is running the ball and playing defense.
I think so.
Like,
I
I
think
mean,
so.
honestly, that's not a bad bet in that
No,
division.
no.
Like,
Not
And
at all.
Schottenheimer, his thing is running the ball. That's what he's famous for, and his game planning, running the football there. So hopefully they can do that. And then, I mean, off of that, is there a free agent receiver out there that's really that we think of off the top of your heads or anything like that you go, oh, that could help them or make a difference?
move the needle.
Right? I don't know if there is. I
No,
think if
it's
they're going to
tough.
get one, it's
What do
going
you
to
get
be
at?
more.
You had Amari Cooper. I mean,
Right.
but
So, yes,
you
I
had him
know.
there
I know.
already.
Maybe they bring him back for
Yeah.
something low value type of deal, or do they go, let's see one of these teams that drafted a bunch of damn receivers,
yes.
and maybe they
Packers.
get to training camp and just go, we're not going to keep all of them. We'll
Right.
put them on the trade block, and they make a move then. That's to me the only scenario out there, really.
So a quarterback and a team that kind of did the opposite of Dallas with the Texans. C.J. Stroud gets 2 new notable wide receivers, but they went a little lighter on the offensive line than I think we expected, guys. They took Ariante Ursary in the top 50. Who
I like.
Yeah, he's played a
know.
ton of tackle
Right.
at a high level from Minnesota. It's just that their interior has some questions
question.
right now. But obviously, Chris, their idea here for Stroud is litter the field with weapons. Now you have the perimeter guys in Higgins and Nico Collins, and then Jaylon Noel, who takes over the slot, although he'll have to compete for that as well.
Yeah, right. I think Jaylon Noel, can he compete and upseat Christian Kirk this year? Maybe, maybe not. Either way, it's for the future. I could see Christian Kirk being there 1 year, and then they go, Jaylon Noel, you take
you're
over
the
that
guy.
spot, and that's for you from now on. I like what they did. I did. I mean, I think first off, you couple Jaden Higgins along with Nico Collins on the outside. I mean, Jaden Higgins, he's not as fast and big play as Nico Collins, but can run routes, and of course the size is real and all of that. I love Noel. Jaylon Noel, to me, is one of my favorites in the whole draft. I like it. And I'm going to trust them in the fact that they think their O-line's a little bit better than us sitting here in a chair in Connecticut, right, think it is. This is not a stupid group down there by any stretch of the imagination. Titus Howard is a pretty good guard, so I have no problem with that. Now, the center position and Jarrett Patterson's a question for sure, and we talked about that last year. But they acted, and they have depth at the position to where they look like they feel like they're comfortable, and they just wanted to get weapons around Stroud.
Yeah, and we got to remember, this is a team that, was it 2 years ago? Bobby Slowick and what he was doing offensively was like the greatest thing ever.
Right.
Is he going to stay? Is he going to become a head coach? They moved on from that. There were clear issues, and we were saying it all last season of they got to figure out their pass protection. It's not just the players.
Yeah,
like
it's the
they're moving
scheme.
guys around right here. Like, this guy's not missing a block. There's no one there to block him.
right.
So I think they're banking on that. I think they're banking on Nick Caley coming in as the offensive coordinator and saying, we're going to put together a protection plan. And from my time in New England, like when you were in New England, under Josh McDaniels, there were different times that we had players in and out of the starting lineup on the offensive line. He always did a great job of saying, hey, we can't do certain things because we don't have this guy available. So instead, this tight end's always going to be with this tackle. He's going to chip.
right.
Or we're going to slide the protection this way to protect this guard. And, hey, we're going to leave you one-on-one backside as this tackle. Like, he did things like that. And I think Nick Caley comes from that. And then you pair what he was able to learn from Sean McVay over the last year or two in the Rams. I think their offensive plan is going to be better. And I think it's going to be based on fitting who they have on the offensive line, not just who you have at receiver and running back. I think that's what people forget.
Agreed.
You have to think about the offensive linemen out of there playing for
Agreed.
you.
They were too simple, and I think that's what they're saying. I think that's the good point you make up. I think they're more comfortable with the guys than we think, and I think they know schematically it was an issue last year. They were a slide team where you just go, okay, you can't – everyone's kind of on to how you do things. They've exposed you. They dangle somebody over here, and then they drop out, and they blitz somebody over here, and you guys are always exposed. And I think on top of that, to what you're pointing to, the last thing I'll say about it is just that this is, I think, they're going to empower C.J. Stroud like Brady had in New England and all that. That to me, as I get older as a quarterback, if I was walking to the line of scrimmage going, I'm just gonna trust the center. He'll get it right. Like that would make my kahunas would be in my neck, okay? Because I'd be like, I hope we're protected.
I don't even know this guy that well.
I know, right? And he's doing it, and we're just going off of him, right? And so like I could not stand that as I got older, and of course John Gruden taught the quarterbacks to be involved, and luckily I got to be a part of that. But those are big things in growth of the quarterback too. And when he knows where the problems are and knows how to fix them and all that too, he's going to even play better. And they'll be more emboldened to call more aggressive plays. They're going to be like, CJ will figure it out if they blitz or do this. Don't worry. And that's what I'm excited for Houston.
Devin, what are the challenges like when you deal with an offense that now they have Nico Collins, but they had Jaden Higgins, 2 basketball threats, like 2 gigantic. They can get over the top of you, but they can win underneath perimeter threats. And then you throw in a Jaylon Noel that's explosive out of the slot. That 11 personnel is just looking so much better than what a lot of other teams can throw out there.
Yeah, it reminds me in 2016 on the Patriots, we had Martellus Bennett and Rob Gronkowski. And it's just 2 tight ends until we got in the red zone. And then what our offense would do, they would put whoever, Julian Edelman inside and another receiver inside, and they would play in the slot, and they would put these 2 guys outside.
Yeah.
So now, as a defense, you say, okay, my rule, double Gronk. So then you go double Gronk, and they just throw a jump ball backside, and you're like, maybe we should double Martellus next time. So you're trying to make decisions, and then like you just said, and then when you can have a different guy like Jaden Noel in the slot, now it spreads your defense. Like anytime you're on defense, you're thinking about who needs help, how can we protect, how do we make the team, how do we protect our inside and have to throw the ball outside. But when you're really good outside, you try to say, well, let's be good, let's be better inside and force them to throw in there because their good players aren't in there. And when you have players all over the field, it's like what we talked about with Buffalo. It just puts so much pressure. I remember Belichick used to come in and say, hey, guys, they're good everywhere. We can't double everybody. You guys got to step up and defend and do a good job in your one-on-one matchups, and that's what they're going to force teams to do this year.
Yeah.
Over in New England, Drake May is probably smiling.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about
Drake
it.
May's smiling ear to ear. Listen to the additions for New England in a really heavy draft class. They drafted it's a big draft class. Mike Vrabel obviously wanting to kind of give this roster a facelift. An 11-player draft class. On offense alone, Will Campbell with the top 5 pick. Travion Henderson and Kyle Williams bring speed at the skill spots for them.
Yep.
They go get the starting center from Georgia in Jared Wilson, one of the better testing athletes we've seen at the position throughout the NFL draft process. So, guys, a lot of additions here that are just dedicated to the mission of giving Drake May a lot more help than he had last year.
And this is to go along with there's no longer a player on the roster that won a Super Bowl for the New England Patriots.
Damn.
Like it is Joe
Don't
Cardona.
cry. It's all right.
Joe
All right.
Cardona, the long snapper, got released. Yes, as you see, they drafted a long snapper.
Yeah.
Like you could tell that was a priority. Let's get all of the guys.
Bill's guys out of here.
Let's get them all out of here. Like we don't want. And I think if you were a part of the past or like you're a fan, you don't want that. Like you want to hold on. But I understand what Vrabel's doing. Like you don't want these guys who are trying to build this new way to have to always hear about a player coming up and saying,
Bill used to do it this way.
or Brady used to tell me this. Like, hey, we're
right,
done with those people. They have nothing to do with our future. And they went and they got guys. Like I thought Will Campbell, like they interview him after he gets drafted. He's like, I'll die.
Yeah.
I'll die to protect Drake May. Like there's an Instagram video going around with little kids and they're asking him like, would you die for your mom? And one little kid said, die? Like he don't want to die for his mom. And Will Campbell right away says, I'll die to protect Drake May. So I think that has been the biggest thing. They want not just the players, they want those players to be the right type of men in the building. And I think that's what they went for. They got good players, but also they got good character guys that they can build around.
100%. He's such a Vrabel guy, Will Campbell. That's why it was like when you did mock drafts, you were just like, he's Vrabel.
Forget
his arms. Like it's
perfect. It's just yes. And we'll see if he works out a tackle. But either way, I have no doubt he'll be good on the O-line somewhere. Right, I think he is a better guard, but they're going to try him a tackle. We'll see. Kyle Williams, everybody in the NFL knew I loved him, right? So I always would get reports about him. But to your point about the character and stuff, that was the one thing I heard from teams on his visit. It's like, man, we love Kyle Williams. He's tough. He loves football. Like, so that fits them. New England's got it rolling. As a New Yorker, I don't like to say it out loud, but I will. Yeah, they're back. I mean, they really got things in the roster in a nice spot. And like you said, Connor, Trevion Henderson, with Josh McDaniels, forget run game, okay, but Josh in the pass game, the screen game, like shades of Kevin Falk or James White back in the day, except this guy's got an extra rocket up his ass compared to those guys. And that's where it's going to be fun. So they helped out Drake Maye in a big, big way.
And it was cool. The last bit I'll put is I went there maybe a month and a half ago, and I just went and I text Josh, and I went and sat down with him. And he said the new way that they kind of do these schedules, he said, I get to spend a lot of time with the quarterbacks. And he said, as we're putting in new things, and Ashton Grant was there too, the new quarterback coach, and he was just like, what Drake Maye is used to, because he was with those guys in Cleveland with AVP and all those guys. He was like, our verbiage was really long. And I know the knock or whatever everybody was saying on Josh McDaniels was when Tom Brady left, it was too complicated. And I'm listening to Ashton Grant, who had nothing to do with Brady in the old way, and he was just like, this has been great. Like, this is simplified. We can understand him. Like, he had this kind of look on him. It was like he was so excited because of the understanding. I think Josh talked about sitting down, being at different colleges, going to different pro teams, and seeing how he wanted to tweak his offense.
Yeah, good.
There was an excitement of getting with Drake Maye and what they think that they're building that was really cool to listen to. And this was before they got Henderson and before they got Kyle Williams. Like, this was just what they had in the locker room previously, so now I know even more that they think that they can go out there and be dangerous as an offense.
That's cool to hear. It is cool to hear. It's something you got to do in the NFL right now is with the free agency and the way college kids are learning.
Right.
You know, make some of this as concise and a little bit easier for everybody to digest. And, yeah, I'm on social media with John Gruden up plays on the regular, right? Josh's are every bit as long, Josh McDaniels. They are. Tom Brady's the smartest freaking quarterback ever in the history of football. He had to read some of those plays because it was like, is this a play or a dissertation? Like, what is this?
You know what I love?
Right.
Josh told me they're putting in more one-word plays.
Wow, so one-word code plays.
You know, that's what we love on defense. Wolverine, that tells everybody what to do. Let's go.
Right. Until Wolverine means something else, and then you're screwed the next week, something like that.
Our last quarterback that definitely falls into the winner category, guys, is Caleb Williams. And this has been the mission for the Bears the whole offseason. You go out and get Ben Johnson, who was one of the biggest names on the coaching market. And now with the first draft that Ben Johnson's been a part of with this team, Colson Loveland, obviously with the top 10 pick at tight end that fits their scheme.
Laporta
You see what
Jr.
Exactly.
Right.
Luther Burden in the second round. You add to a wide receiver
DJ Moore
room.
Jr.
Right, that's kind of an interesting talking
guy,
point for sure. Ozzie Trapillo from Boston College to add to the tackle
Taylor
depth.
Decker Jr.
Yeah, gigantic right tackle.
Right.
Gigantic right tackle. So, and then, a sneaky one, Kyle Monungai from Rutgers in the 7th round. I don't care that he was a 7th-round pick. They probably look at him and think, can you be David Montgomery one day for us?
Yeah, right.
This was a really good offensive draft.
Agreed. It's a lot like New England. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of parallels here where I'm going to go, this is like if one team won the offseason in the AFC, I'd probably give it to the Patriots. If one in the NFC I'd give it to, I'd probably go with the Bears. And coaching including, right, with what was done. Yeah, I'm excited for Ben Johnson. I'm excited for Vrabel and Josh McDaniels. Yeah, I'm excited for Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen and what they can do over there in Chicago. And, yeah, I love Colson Loveland. I do. I know people were, like, shocked, and I'll be one, too, that was surprised he got picked over Tyler Warren. But I understand it. I get it. It's not like, oh, what a crazy thought. He's a better blocker than Tyler Warren. He's a better route runner. And for a guy like Ben Johnson, he's going to value that a little bit more. And then Luther Burden, he's the guy I'm maybe more scared about anybody in the draft that I was wrong about at the receiver position because, like, you're not going to love his routes and everything, but when he gets the ball in his hands, it's like, watch out. He can make some plays happen. So everything on the up and up for Caleb Williams in Chicago right now, and how could Caleb Williams not be a winner by what the things they've done?
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head is when these guys are coming out from the draft, we look at them overall as just a prospect, but then they get on a team, and now you're able to say, okay, Burden, we won't need you to be the route runner or maybe in 2 years, maybe you'll get with DJ Moore and you'll be in this system. But for right now, we're going to throw you a screen pass. You're going to run a reverse. We're going to get you in space. We're going to do different things. And I think Chicago came in with a plan from the very beginning and I think everyone was talking about that when they let Eberflus go during the season, and it felt like, man, is this the right decision? Like, I know he made a mistake, time management and all of that, but now you're starting to move different guys around, and it seemed like Caleb Williams had like a few weeks where he was getting better. Then you change your whole staff, and everybody's like, does Chicago know what they're doing? And since that moment in the offseason started, it feels like man, they've hit everything right on the head, changing around their offensive line, getting Joe Tooney in there, doing different things like that before the draft. So then now you come to the draft, you sit there with Ben Johnson, like, who do you like? He's like, Lovely. So I'm like, but it's Tyler Warren. And he's like, hey, like, we're not lining him up in the backfield. We're not doing all those different things.
Right.
So it might not be the player you see at Penn State. He might not come here for us. So I think because they did such a great job in March, they were able to really win April. And for Caleb Williams, now the pressure's on. You got to go and be good.
That's a great way of putting
no
it.
Excuses.
Yeah.
No excuses.
It's a great way of putting it. They went into the draft with so many needs already hit that they were able to take the best players that fit their scheme.
Right.
That's how that draft went. We're going to take our first break, but when we're back with a new class of rookies arriving to teams, we'll be looking at which veterans are now on the hot seat right after this. Rookies versus veterans. And instead of just me reading down the rundown, guys, we had a little fun with this.
Yeah.
We got a wheel of destiny that decides.
The wheel. It
Yeah.
just sounds like a Pete Dim a little light.
That's exactly
idea,
right. This is a Pete wild card. Maybe a
I
little,
like a wheel.
little That's really good, Pete. Oh, man, he regrets everything. He's like, why didn't we just order them? And Connor reads them. And
He's like, nobody said that when I came up with this idea. Now you're killing me.
Yeah, you save it for the show.
Save it for the show.
That's the key.
You got to save the best stuff for the show. Come on.
All right, Wheel of Destiny. Decide our fate here as we go through some expected camp battles. Let's take a spin and see what team
It's
we
a
land
great
on.
wheel, though.
It's
What
a good-looking wheel.
What a great logo.
The unbuttoned logo right in the middle of
Bam.
it.
Perfect.
Our first one is the Saints here, guys. And you know this one. It's pretty simple. The quarterback they drafted in Tyler Shough and Derek Carr, whatever his health status is. Is it, first off, if Carr's healthy, is this a competition?
I don't think it is.
I was about to say, you would know more about the quarterback. And
Well, hear me out. Like, I don't know anything like hard line here or anything like that, inside info, but they're paying him a ton of money.
Right.
They reorganized his contract to a point where I don't think they really even wanted to keep him, but it was going to be way more expensive to let him go. So now you're going to keep him, and you're still giving a bunch of money, and you're going to bench him. I don't know if I think that's going to be the case. Like, he's going to have to fail miserably, in my opinion. Where Shough is valuable is if he's not ready to go, he could play right now.
Right.
And he could be the quarterback of the future. Or if something happens to Derek Carr during the year, they start to play bad. There's some injury guarantee at the end of the year or something like that, and they go,
Sit him
we
down,
don't want
yeah.
you. Let's get Tyler Shough era started. I think that's where that is. I don't think it's a true camp battle, at least. I'm not sure.
it's interesting because, like, you think about Atlanta last year. You get Kirk Cousins, but then you draft Michael Penix Jr., and I was on a show with Justin Simmons, and it was like, when did you know? He was like the third practice. You're like, wait, the third practice when? He was like, of training camp.
Of July?
And it was just like, so all the players kind of felt like, damn, this guy probably should play. And it took a few weeks. So I do wonder, Derek Carr's been there, like, how do the players feel? Like, are they maybe they're excited to see Shough come in there, and they're just like, they get to training camp and he's spinning the ball around, and they're like, you know what?
I hear
I
you.
wouldn't mind this guy. I still don't think I don't think it's week one, but maybe even if Carr's healthy, they say, hey, we're probably not going to win the Super Bowl this year. Let's move towards possibly being where we want to be at next year by letting this young guy play and go out there and see, because there's no way, like you just said, they don't really want Carr, it felt like.
Right.
So they might say, hey, how do we move this along sooner, especially when you hire a new head coach.
Yeah.
He can feel this out, and now Kellen Moore can say, you know what, we're going a new direction, and we'll be really ready for next year.
Right. All things are possible there.
Yeah.
All things are possible. I'll be interested to see where they go with that whole situation. And, of course, Shough was one of the surprises because, of course, he went before Shador, and everybody was still blown away by that and that whole thing, too. And one thing that's a little different to me between, like, Penix and – Shough is a second-rounder. Penix, as we both know, all three of us know, has a cannon for an arm. So it is one of those things where the third day of practice, everybody's like, wow. I mean, Kirk Cousins throwing noodles out here, and we can't see the ball from Michael Penix, right? So that gives you that early height. I don't know if Shough has that type of talent where the team's just going to be like, oh, my gosh, him compared to Derek Carr, right? But again, this is all food for thought. We'll see where it goes.
Let's go back to the Wheel of Destiny for our next camp battle, rookie versus veteran. Let's give it a spin.
Spin that shit, Pete. Let's go. Get it.
And we got
Oh,
we got one on the line. It's the Cowboys.
We lost all our money. Oh, okay.
And this one is Donovan Ezeiruaku, who they took in the second round, versus Dante Fowler Jr. and Marshawn Kneeland, a previous day 2 pick as well. And Kneeland, guys, I thought Ezeiruaku was going to go in the first round.
I think a lot
so
of
this is
people
one where
thought that.
anything can happen with his ability to rush the passer.
Well, and I always look this when you have pass rushers already on your roster, and you go and you get a guy like this. These guys are in trouble. That's the plan. Like, we see what's here. We're not saying we hate you. Like, you're still going to be a part of the rotation, but you might be the starters week 1 on the depth chart and all of that, but you're going to quickly see, like, oh, man, my snaps are going down.
Yeah.
Oh, like, I'm not – because –
I'm only on third down
Yeah,
now.
like,
Right,
as a team, when you look at your roster and you go and you get a guy early in the draft, like, there's a reason you're going to do that. Like, you feel like we need to upgrade this position. So, yeah, I think – you should worry if you're on that staff. Fowler, Kneeland, like your reps are going to be limited. So you need to start off with a bang right away and try to make it hard for them to put this guy on the field above you.
Definitely. I mean, one DN position spoken for by, in my opinion, the best defensive player in football, and Micah, right? So the other side there, I kind of tend to agree with Devin there. It's a second-round pick. It's super talented. We sat there for the last 4 picks of the draft in the barn and kept going, Ezeiruaku, Ezeiruaku. Got to be pass rusher.
Never happened.
That's all we kept saying.
Yep.
And we're not crazy for saying that, because I know there was people in the NFL that thought he might go in the end of the first round. So, yes, I mean, you said it right. Fowler might start early on, whatever, but he's going to have to play phenomenal to continue to be the starter and dominate the snap count. Marshawn Kneeland's an interesting guy because he's not like your typical pass rush get wide. He's kind of a hybrid. He's like a strong side DN,
right,
who I think in passing situations you could play a D tackle and he can be a handful for that. So that's where it's a little different. I look at it more, I think, between Fowler and Ezeiruaku fighting for that same spot.
Let's go back to the wheel for our next one. And, yeah, I agree with you, Chris, that Kneeland might just have a specific role.
A role, right?
Where the pure pass rush reps, as
Right.
Devin was alluding to, Fowler could not be in trouble, but definitely have some of his
We're
work
playing a
eaten
big
into.
team like the Eagles this week.
Yes,
Let's
yep.
make Kneeland the
Yes.
strong side DN. Let's make Ezeiruaku the strong side linebacker on the line of scrimmage to get a 5-man front, and then have Micah backside. That's where Kneeland comes in there.
So the wheel destiny takes us to the Titans, who have
Tennessee.
a very interesting wide receiver room, guys. They had 2 rookies to get great value in Elic Ayomanor from Stanford, Chimere Dike from Florida, the speedster. The veterans on this roster, Van Jefferson, Tyler Lockett, and, of course, the often injured but talented Treylon Burks. So a lot to sort through
What do you
here.
think here, big guy? I mean, I love those 2 receivers. Like,
I especially love
they're not
Ayomanor.
top 5, but
Yeah.
right. I love Ayomanor, and DK's got some potential
He can
that I
fly.
like. He could fly,
Yeah,
and he's
can
got a
fly.
little size.
He's got to finish more plays.
Right.
The drops are a problem, but he can absolutely fly. This tells me that, like, Treylon Burks is in big trouble.
Right.
And it's a shame that he's been hurt a lot compared to where they drafted him, which was a different regime, which is how you know he's in trouble. Elic Ayomanor, I mean, you need power slot or a guy that can play outside. The Callahans are going to love that he's one of the best blocking wide receivers in this draft. This team's going to want to run the football to protect their young quarterback and all the assets they pour into the offensive line. Ayomanor was the guy they poured the least assets into in this group, and he's the guy I have the most confidence in out of all of them, just because he can outright play.
Right. Strong, great route runner, do all of that. I know.
solid.
I don't know. We know Calvin Ridley's the guy, but Tyler Lockett got a 1-year, $4 million deal.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be like, oh, no, we can't put him on the bench if one of these rookies doesn't show up. Van Jefferson's a journeyman for a reason. So, yeah, it's really going to be like, I feel good, like what you said. How do you say his name?
Ayomanor?
Ayomanor. Damn, I'm the worst. Ayomanor.
I wouldn't have guessed
It's
that.
not an easy one.
I know it's not, but I should know it because I've said it enough times here and I still mess it up. But Ayomanor is one that I look at to go, he's NFL ready for sure, and I expect him to be on the field early. It's just, who else is the other guy that joins the rotation there?
And honestly, like, it doesn't matter who they drafted. Like, when you look at that roster, like, there's no way they were coming into the season saying, we're going to get Cam Ward 1 and say, Cam, we want you to throw to Calvin Ridley, Van Jefferson, and Tyler Lockett.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Tyler Lockett's still a good veteran receiver. He's a great guy to have in that room.
Right.
You don't want him as, like, your number 2 guy. So I think they did a good job. If they didn't do this, we'd be walking away saying they did a disservice to this quarterback that they took number 1. So,
Definitely.
yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me.
Let's get back to the wheel of destiny, and yeah, I'm with you guys. It's
Cam
good to
Ward, the
double
least
dip.
talked about first
It's
pick
crazy.
in
I
history
know.
in the NFL.
It's
Oh, my
crazy.
goodness.
And the Wheel of Destiny lands on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Boom.
And this one, guys, is really interesting in two different areas. Josh Simmons, their first-round pick, coming off serious knee injury at Ohio State after they added Jaylon Moore for left tackle. So we'll see where Simmons is physically. And then defensively, they get Omarr Norman-Lott, who all pass rush, but, man, it's damn good.
I like him.
Versus the veterans, Mike Pennel and Jerry Tillery on this roster as well. Chris, we'll start with the offense, specifically at tackle. It's just a matter of when Simmons is ready.
Yeah. Or
do you like the fact that they have the veteran more and let's stash Simmons until that knee feels
I think that's the big thing. Yeah. I mean, Simmons is the man, right? I mean, I had Orlando Brown Jr. on here. He right away was like, he reminds me of Trent Williams. I think he's the best tackle in the draft. I mean, when you watch his film, there's not much to not like. You're like, wow, the feet are awesome. Damn, he fires off the ball and moves people in the run game, right? He's pretty damn smart. His arms are long. Okay, we got everything there. But I think that's the genius of the pick is the fact that they don't need to rush him. They don't need him right now. And I expect Jaylon Moore to be the guy early on and go from there. But, yeah, what happens? I don't know. Can Jaylon Moore maybe play guard as we move along here?
That's what I was
right?
thinking. Yep.
And he could be the guard as now Josh Simmons is outside, and that gets the best 5 guys on the field. I could certainly see that. I could see it, too, in a weird way where maybe it goes, hey, this is maybe Jawan Taylor's last year there, and they move Moore or Simmons over there and then have both of them at tackle. There's a little flexibility in the movement here because they're not desperate. They needed to be improved. Obviously, we saw the Super Bowl, but as far as this player is concerned, they can wait a little.
Yeah, I mean, last year we felt like the 3 interior guys, you know, it was like this is their strength.
Their strength.
Outside, it was like, who knows? So I think for them, it's like, what are the 5 guys that we feel great about putting on the football field? Who do we want to say? Because last year they moved Joe Tooney to tackle and just kept playing. Like, we're going to move him to left tackle. He's a guard, but he's our best 5, and we're going to go play. So I think that's what they're going to do. When Simmons is healthy, who knows if Jawan Taylor makes it out this whole year?
I know.
Last year's, I know the left tackle was the issue, but honestly, it was like both
right
sides.
tackle
like
wasn't very good. We weren't sitting there going, we were still going, he still falls starting a lot.
Exactly. So I think
he still holds a lot.
They're like, hey, we got a guy. We got more in free agency. We like that. We're going to go get our guy in the draft. And then whenever we can, we're going to try to revamp this thing and get the best 5 out there.
And then, Devin, on the defensive side of the ball, they lose Tershawn Wharton, who had a 6.5 sack season on this interior. But Omarr Norman-Lott, the name of the game for him is pass rush. So even if he's a rotational player, that's a big spot for this defense.
Exactly. Like, again, when you're a team that you're fighting to be in the last game of the year every single year, you come back after the season, you say, what do we need to get us over the hump? When Wharton leaves, you're like, we have to replace him. He was a big part of our defense. They did that right there. So Michael Pennel, like all these guys, they'll play, they'll have a role. But, like, hey, Norman-Lott, like, this is why we brought you here. And I remember hearing that in so many meetings of telling young guys, like, hey, this is why you're here. You're not here to get sack numbers and all of that stuff. Like, that's sweet, but you're here for when we get in the AFC Championship game, when we get in the Super Bowl, to push the pocket. You and Chris Jones being dominant up front.
I really like this player. I think he was underrated in the draft process. The fact that he was the backup at Tennessee, which I still want to throw a challenge flag and go, what the was going on down there? Why were the other two guys starting?
Things.
I don't
Pierce
know.
Rotated in and out.
Right. You're just like, I had to go back to games and be like, wait, did I miss him in the start of the game? Wait, he doesn't start, right? But I think, like, Devin's kind of hit it spot on. But they need to play big people. Mike Pennel will be in there holding down the fort. I'll take a double team on. I can't move you. But we know Spags also will play the let's just create chaos and things up and up front, and you slant this way and you slant that way,
Chris
and
Jones
our line
outside on the
we'll have him outside, and our linebackers are fast, and they kind of clean up the trash wherever it may be. So yeah, they're going to get him in there. He's going to be in there a lot. And what they also need now is, hey, Omenyehu to stay healthy, right? They need Felix and Duki Uzama, the first-round pick from 2 years ago out of Kansas State, to start to step up and be a part of the rotation, and we'll see where they go. We know they're a damn good team. It's just they got to work on being dominant and not just finding ways to win. That's a big thing for Kansas City.
Let's go back to the Wheel of Destiny for our next team. And, yes, the Chiefs, it's all about
the Chiefs
beefing
man.
up.
That was amazing they got Josh Simmons. That really was.
And we land
here we
on.
go.
It's going to be close.
Oh, sorry, it's Eagles.
The Jets just fell out
it's
there.
the team that actually is good wearing green.
Yeah,
okay?
there's no denying that. Listen, the Eagles, they get Jahad Campbell at the end of round 1. You have Nakobe Dean and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. on this roster. This might be a combo, guys, just like the Josh Simmons one we had, where when Jahad Campbell's shoulders are right, he should be playing on this defense.
I mean, and Nakobe Dean's coming off knee surgery.
Yeah.
So that's a bigger, for Jahad Campbell, tearing your labrum, it's a big deal, contact. But, I've done that, and I got my surgery in March. You're back for the regular season, and you feel pretty good. You're healthy enough to play. So, to me, they need Campbell to be ready to go. And I know Jeremiah Trotter's a guy that stepped up and played in different situations last year, but I think he's more of a backup special teams type player. That's how they view him. So, Jahad Campbell's a stud. I think, and I was surprised, and I know, shoulder surgery is major. You had it, a month before but to drop, to me, if I need a linebacker, I'm not really worried about can you come off a shoulder surgery.
I was surprised that far too. And I think we were hearing the Eagles. The Eagles just flat out said he was the top 10 player on their board.
This is what they do, though.
Right.
All the time.
Well, that's what happens when you build a roster of that. You don't need to be desperate. You can try to make moves because you got some assets that you can get rid of because you're so well built, but you can also sit there and go, we're well built. We don't need to make the move.
Right.
And they tried to trade up, and they got messed up. They tried to trade up with the Chargers, and something happened there with the turning in the paperwork and all that, and they still got the guy sitting there for him at the end of the first round. So it's incredible. What I'm interested, too, with both of you guys, too, right, because I think I see it the same way. I mean, we know Zach Bond's going to start. I think there's no doubt that Jahad Campbell is the starter if he's healthy and ready to go, and he'll be that guy. Will he, and I don't know how much you got to study him in the process, him off the edge is, real. One of those things when you start to watch, you go, holy crap, his first step, it rivals Abdul Carter and some of that. And I just wonder where he'll get infused as far as if he does at pass rusher at all.
It was so real to me that when, going through the draft process for scouting, I wrote both positions down for him. I didn't know what he was. And then the NFL gravitated towards him being an off-ball guy a little bit because he's got unique size and movement skills, and he's a little bit raw as a pass rusher because he doesn't get to do it enough. But the Eagles, they don't care. I think my answer would be it depends what version of Bryce Huff they get this year. Yeah. Bryce Huff did nothing after they signed him last year, but if he gets back to the guy he was with the Jets, then you probably don't need Campbell to do that on third downs. But if they get thin in that area, you lost Josh Sweat, you didn't get anything from Bryce Huff last year, why wouldn't we give this guy a look on third downs?
I hear you. I still sit here and wonder if Bryce Huff is going to be trade bait as we continue to go here.
I would think so.
I would think so, right? I had heard his name come up a little in the pre-draft process, but never anything substantial. I mean, they got Azeez Ojulari there. Jalix Hunt, I think, has got big-time potential, right? He's got some stuff to him, no doubt. So they're not, desperate there. They got plenty to go around, and then if you add Jahad Campbell to that pass-rushing list, you go, hey, they're okay here. But I don't know what they do with Huff.
It makes me think of being in New England with Dante Hightower comes to our team, and he's a stand-up linebacker, but at different times when he was at Bama, he would go on the edge. And I just think when you have linebackers like that, you put the same guys on the field as a defense, and one time you line up, he's an off-the-ball linebacker. That same group stays out there.
It's you talk to the tight ends.
Yes. As an offense, you think you're going to get a certain look, and then next thing you know, he's on the edge.
Right.
And so I think it gives them great versatility, and how much they want to do of that, I think depends. But to me, you'd be crazy not to take advantage a couple times a game and let them go out there and rush.
Yeah. Let's go back to the wheel of destiny, and the Eagles linebacker room.
I even like the 7th round pick in 6th round Antoine Powell, right, from Virginia Tech.
Yeah, him and Aeneas Peoples on that defense can just rush the hell out of the passer. It was insane.
He's got some pass rush ability. I mean, he's going to be able to help them out that way at some point.
I didn't even see who the Wheel of Destiny landed on because we were so engaged in.
The Broncos.
The Broncos are up on the Wheel of Destiny, and this one, guys, is all about the backfield. They take R.J. Harvey in the 2nd round. They have Jaleel McLaughlin on this roster, Audric Estime from last year's draft, and Tyler Beatty now, but they get a running back that Sean Payton sees as a guy in space and outside zone. Could just be a monster for this team with his explosiveness.
I don't think there's any doubt here. There's no competition.
He walks in and he's the guy. Yeah.
He's the guy. Where they killed it to me is just the first 2 picks are they're starting for us right now.
Yeah.
Barron's in. He's starting in the secondary. Great. Okay. We needed a running back that we could give the ball 20 times a game and maybe throw a few balls to. R.J. Harvey's that. I loved R.J. Harvey. I think you did too. I mean, we had to see his ability to kind of maybe, will he put the foot in the ground and just go in for hard yards at times, because he's got the ability to make the big plays and he can look for that a little bit. But, man, his ability to make people miss, he does have power. And, of course, his speed, he's got real long speed where he can go 80 to the house. Like, I don't think there's any doubt he's the guy here.
Yeah, I think when you looked at last year, they talked about needing a running back. It was obvious for the amount of different guys that were playing in there, and McLaughlin is not a every down back guy off rip. And I'm not 100% how they see estimate. He fumbled a little bit last year. Like, at different times, they tried to kind of
get him going
and have him being the guy. So I think it's obvious that they like Harvey and they want to bring him in there to be the guy because they didn't like what was in that room.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Estime is going to be like short yardage runner maybe.
He'll have
like
a
that.
role.
McLaughlin will be gadget, pass game guy. But R.J. Harvey's going to be the guy they formulate the offense around.
Let's get back to the wheel of destiny here. And, yeah, guys, I'm with you. I think the Broncos running back room is kind of decided. That's why they used a top 60 pick on him. And the wheel of destiny lands on the host of the 2025 NFL Draft in the Green Bay Packers. Now, this one is really tough to figure out. We know Matthew Golden being a first-round pick is going to have a significant role.
Right.
But, I mean, Devin, this wide receiver room just has so many different names in it now. It's kind of going to be interesting to see who gets shuffled out and loses targets in all of this.
And then remember, Christian Watson got hurt at the end of the year.
Right.
So how exactly that plays out, like when is he going to be healthy? When you get hurt in January, it's like the worst time to get hurt for the next season. So I think Matthew Golden goes in there and not right away as like the number one guy. I think he fills that role that Watson filled when he first got to Green Bay. The vertical guy, the kind of big play guy that can get the ball in his hands, can run and make plays. We've seen that and saw what he did at Texas. But I still think Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, I think those are the guys that they kind of count on to be those guys. But I think the big thing for me in Green Bay is I think Jordan Love has to take that step this year. He has to make all of these guys better because the room has talent.
The team's ready. The team's
just said
good.
It.
Yeah.
One of these guys might be available for trade. Like another team is probably waiting to see how it works out because they have a lot of talent in that room.
I get the pick. Honestly, I got dragged, I think, more on social media about Matthew Golden, the Packers, in my mock draft than anybody because a little bit I think the people just see the names and go, wait, they have receivers. They don't need one. But no, I think context matters, right? Yeah. And you just said it. Christian Watson's been hurt every year he plays. He's always hurt. So they can't depend on that anymore. They've gone past that. They have to have a backup plan. Romeo Doubs missed time last year because of off-the-field issues. And there's things there that even lead up to when he was drafted. So I don't know if they know he can be depended on like that, right? So they went with Matthew Golden, who has a high ceiling and I think a very high floor. Because, I'm not like, oh, my gosh, Matthew Golden, but I see more to him tap into. But I also look at it and go, he's NFL ready. He can do a lot of different things. He's going to help them out right away. And I think that's where it makes sense. And then hopefully Jordan Love doesn't get banged up and he practices and can play more like we saw 2 years ago, the last half of the year, because last year it was all over the place. But I thought this was the appropriate move. They had to get a guy at receiver that they knew could play and help them out this year. And Golden is a pro as far as the approach to the game and all the doing the little things that you need to be done. Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We still have the Browns, Giants, and more as we'll polish off the Wheel of Destiny and return after this.
The Wheel of Destiny. Oh, it's the Kentucky Derby. I love it this time of the year. To me, it's one of the official kicks off of the summer. This Saturday is the first Saturday in May, and you know what that means. Yup, the Kentucky Derby. Catch all of our coverage on NBC and Peacock. And before then, you could see good-looking Connor Rogers, smiling face, well-combed hair, pectorals sticking out of his shirt from the track Thursday with Matthew Berry, Fantasy Football Hour, the whole crew. You can watch that at NFL on NBC YouTube channel. All right. Do you like that? Yeah.
That was good.
You got that?
Real good, yeah.
Make sure you wear a shirt that shows
That
your
was
pecs now, though. I
they gotta-
promised the people.
The people want to see it.
No shirt.
That's
Do that.
Everyone's doing it.
You
That
know?
is the move. You
Yeah.
got to throw at least 2 chains on.
Yeah, do something like
I'll
that.
try something out tomorrow at the track, see how it goes. I'll let you guys know.
Maybe just go with the tank top, like Jersey, New York style,
That's
with
it.
some gold chains.
I'll stand out
You
like
could
a
do
sore
that.
thumb.
You could do that.
Wardrobe people gonna be all over.
Oh, yeah, that'll be the
All
last
over.
of me dressing myself ever again at the company, but a good way to go out.
But a good way to go out. Definitely. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to watch you guys there. I do love the Kentucky Derby. I love Saturday, just kind of putting it on the
It
TV.
is
Oh, it's amazing.
Not watching it all, and then it gets closer, and I
Yep.
start to tune in, and I get very excited about
I
it.
don't know if there's another sporting event where the 10-minute build-up feels bigger.
Yeah, right.
Like,
right.
obviously, the Super Bowl, the build-up's longer, and for any finals, but the 10 minutes when they're walking the horses into the gates, that is the most adrenaline-fueled.
Pretty
like,
awesome.
It is pretty insane.
And then it's over so fast.
And then it's
Like that
over,
build
right.
up, yeah.
Right. So, the Kentucky Derby Saturday.
You gonna put any money
be
on it or
amazing.
anything? You don't gamble on sports or anything.
Maybe I'll
like
put a
that,
couple dollars. I don't
Because you
know.
are the second highest paid safety in the history of football. So I just was wondering.
So that means you have to bet on horse
I gotta
racing.
bet a lot of money on the Kentucky Derby.
That's what that means.
I saw the graphic the other day. It popped up somewhere. I think it popped up during the draft somewhere. And I
Really?
was like, damn, I never had that little nugget. I never had that little nugget
So I
that
should
I can
expect.
use on
I should
Devin
expect to
McCourty.
hear that all year.
Yeah.
All
There
year.
you go.
All year.
Yeah,
Every time you
man.
wear a new suit on football night in America.
I gotta be
yes.
moving down
You
though.
can't
These guys
hide
are getting
money.
paid crazy amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
gotta be
You
moving
got
down,
one more
man.
year
Yeah.
hanging on to number 2. You're definitely going to lose that spot.
All right, let's get back to rookies versus veterans. The wheel of destiny continues as we have a couple more spins left here from producer Pete, running the 1s and 2s in the back for the wheel. And we land on the
it's a good one
Chicago
here.
Bears, and this is a good one because, quite frankly, I don't know if there's an answer between Colson Loveland and Cole Kmet. With Ben Johnson, they might just always both
It
be on
doesn't
the
matter.
field, right?
That's exactly it. Who cares? They're both playing a lot. They're not going to bench Cole Kmet. They're paying him 4 years,
Right,
$50 million.
right.
So he's going to be in there, right? I think you're going to see them in 12 personnel more, like you talked about with Gronk and Martellus Bennett. They're going to play that angle, and those two guys can do both, inside, outside, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not gonna repeat much. I agree 100% with Simms. Like it's a position where you don't have to pick a guy. Hey, you get this when there's one tight end, you get this one. Hey, we need you in on this one. We're blocking this. I'm like they'll go back and forth, and then they'll spend a lot of time on the field together.
Well, let me ask you this then, Devin. What are the challenges in terms of run fits, especially as a safety, when you're playing against a team that runs so much 12 personnel and plays so heavy all the time?
Well, it's really hard when there's a guy who can play receiver a part of that 12 personnel because until they break the huddle, you don't know. Is it going to look like a traditional 12 two tight end sets with both tight ends in line, maybe opposite or together?
Right.
Or is one of these tight ends going to be flanked out wide at receiver or in a slot? So that's the thing you got to be prepared for. Do you have a player that you think can match up in your secondary that if they go in a run formation, they can come downhill, take on a block, stop the run, but also if they flank out wide, can they cover him? Right. So that's the pressure that having two tight ends really puts on the defense.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm excited because Ben's going to hang in there with the run game. So like he kind of just said, you got Colson, Loveland, and Kmet on the end of the line of scrimmage on the same side with that big offensive line they got already. And now you go, damn. We had kind of our nickel in there, whatever. You're in trouble.
It's
so now
second
you
and
put
10.
big
You're
people
thinking
in.
pass.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now they run it down your throat for 8 yards. They keep the same people, and now you're like, shit, it's 3rd and 2. They could run or throw. What do we do now? I don't know. And we put big people in. They got a check, right? Where they go, if it's this defense, let's run the ball. If it's another defense, let's check to this and get the tight ends split out like he was talking before with the tight ends in New England. And now we got some big-ass slow linebacker covering one of them that can't do it, and now you got a mismatch. And that's what I like about it.
And that is why, guys, the Kyle Hamiltons of the world are about to break Devin's safety contract situation.
We'll see when we hit Seattle on this week.
I can't wait to ask you about. Yeah, in fact, screw the damn wheel of death. All right,
The wheel of death.
Pete is not happy about
let's
that.
just go right to it, though. Let's say, Pete, can't you manipulate that thing to land on Seattle? Come on.
He actually has no power to do that, but we're going to go with Seattle anyway. Forget the wheel. The wheel of death, as Chris likes to call it. It lands on the Seahawks by our own choosing. Nick Emanwari, the 2nd-round pick of the Seahawks, the jumbo-sized athletic safety, compared to Julian Love, Devin. So the reliable veteran in Julian Love, but now the new gigantic athletic safety in Emanwari.
And we have it right here. He said, like, They said I'm very similar to Kyle Hamilton. And when you look back at that Ravens defense, Kyle Hamilton, when they were at their best, played a lot in the slot.
Right.
Like they had Geno Stone, they had Marcus Williams, and him as like that 3 safety look. Last year, we had Julian Love, we had Kobe Bryant, who kind of morphed into that true free safety. The only thing they were missing was a Kyle Hamilton type of player. Ayomanor, he brings that. So I look at this from Mike McDonald. He's like, I got what I want. I got what I needed in this group, and now Tariq Woolen and Weatherspoon, they can stay outside. They can take that away. Now, it makes me a little sad 'cause I think Weatherspoon's really good.
This is where
thought.
So,
I
like,
know.
I think they'll switch it up. I think they'll do different things.
Right.
I think you saw Marlon Humphrey. Sometimes he was in the slot. Sometimes Kyle Hamilton was in
right.
I think they'll have different defenses that can kind of morph into
More
different
matchup
things.
type of stuff.
Exactly, and they'll figure that out. But I think Mike McDonald, I think he likes having a safety like this where when they're on the end of the line, they can cover and they can do different things. But when they blitz, it's not a little guy blitzing. Like, I love Witherspoon. He's aggressive. He's fearless. But getting hit by him compared to getting hit by, like, Kyle Hamilton or Ayomanor, like, that's a different element. Like, running back stepping up in pass protection, you don't want to block those guys. So I think he likes having that.
Their length, their ability to bat the ball, all of that. That's going to be a pain. That's what I was really interested to hear from you say here, because we kind of all year last year were like, Seattle's one of the better secondaries in football. This is one of the strengths of their team. And I'm not against ever making the strength of their team better and making it elite, because it does change things throughout how the team has to play you across the field there a little bit. But, like, his point there is, like, he's going to play. I just don't know. I'm interested to see how they work it out. And I think, like, what you said is right. As much as I love Devin Witherspoon at nickel, I would think that, when they put Ayomanor in, they're going to bump him outside. And Josh Jobe, right, or Joby, right, from San Francisco, he's the guy that I guess will come off the field in that situation, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, the secondary to me is also like the offensive line. Get your best guys on the field. How you mix and match and when guys can play different positions that you think is a strength of theirs, you decide that later. But as much as possible, let's just have our best 4 to 5, sometimes 6 guys on the field, because those are the key times, like third down, all those areas in the game, red zone, third down in the red area. Like, you need to win those matchups, and I don't want to have a guy in there just because I like the way he blitzes, but the other guy that has to be in because he has to be in the slot isn't as good. No, let's put our best guys on the field.
All right, let's go back to the
Wheel of Destiny.
We're back.
The greatest wheel ever invented.
Pete says we've made a farce.
I know, he's hurt by it. He's hurt.
That's fine. Giants or Jets, it's going to fall right between, and it goes to the New York Jets guys in one of the easier ones on the list, I think. Mason Taylor, their second-round pick against Jeremy Rucker and Stone Smart. Mason Taylor kind of has the R.J. Harvey treatment. He walks in the facility, and he's the starting tight end right out of the gate. Doesn't matter he's 20 years old.
No, I don't think it matters either. He's like, we talked about Laporta in Chicago. This is Laporta in New York. I think there's going to be a lot of that. I think you saw the Jets and the Bears kind of follow the Detroit mold in their free agency and draft approach, right? I mean, that's what they did. Let's get bigger. We'll get a tight end that is a mismatch like Devin's been talking about and going to be annoying run game, pass game. Yeah, I think there's no doubt. He's ready, too. I mean, it's not like you're like, oh, he needs a little time to develop or anything like that. I mean, Mason Taylor, he's impressive. He blocks. He's a good route runner. He runs hard after the catch and can make things happen that way. I have no doubt that he will be the guy that takes over that position there with New York.
And it fits, right? You have Justin Fields. He can run the ball. You have all of these different backs that can run. So having a dual threat type of tight end, it fits their offense right away. And it's been years since we've talked about the Jets not really having a guy at tight end that they love. So this seems like a great pick where he'll be able to go and play right away.
Yeah. Let's get back to the Wheel of Destiny, and I'm with you guys. It feels like Fields.
You feel good about it?
Yeah.
Feel good about it, Mr. Jets fan over there?
You can't have Fields back there without a tight end in the offense. That's what he leans on all the time. Right. Jeremy Rucker and Stone Smart are third tight ends at best.
Here we go.
Cleveland Browns on the Wheel of Destiny, guys, and you knew we'd get there eventually.
How much time do we have?
I was going to say, buckle up for this one. And really the most exciting one might be the backfield, but the most interesting one is the quarterbacks. They use a third-round pick on Dylan Gabriel. They use a fifth-round pick on Shadur Sanders. They traded for Kenny Pickett this offseason, and they brought back Joe Flacco. The floor is yours.
Yeah. I've been talking about this a lot. First off, they had a phenomenal draft. And
Right.
And a phenomenal draft that's been hijacked by one player that now we
Yeah.
don't talk about anybody else they drafted because we're just going to talk about Shedeur. And I understand that totally. And as I said on Monday or with Florio, anything, that was tough watching that to Shedeur.
Yeah.
I'm a dad. That was hard. I feel bad for him. I do. I really do. Tough situation. Also, though, he has to take some accountability in the process of that he made some wrong decisions in the approach, whether it's not getting an agent and, of course, not going all in on the meetings and being detailed and ready to go. And like this guy knows, quarterbacks and good ones are psycho-detailed, type A personality, OCD. So that is big reason why he fell down the board, let alone his name and all that. When you get into the third round and start to go, all right, we're drafting backup and third-string quarterbacks, we don't want our third-string quarterback to become the main topic of what we're talking about on a team. So people might look at their board and go, oh, yeah, Shedeur Sanders, he's still the highest guy on our board, but the human aspect says that's going to up our locker room, and it's going to be a distraction for our team. Cleveland apparently doesn't care about the human aspect.
No, they never care.
They never have. Whether it's back to Johnny Manziel or Deshaun Watson or whatever, they don't seem to care. And that's where analytics can steer you wrong. I don't get it. So we're going to talk about them and the Giants as far as this situation. And I know we'll come up with the Giants in a bit, but this one's a little different than the Giants situation because it's two rookie quarterbacks. And now that, I have a hard time. I mean, they're going to be there. Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur are going to be there. Who is the odd man out?
Who do you like more, Gabriel or Shedeur, now that we know they're in Cleveland in this fantasy system?
I like Shedeur more.
Yeah.
I do. Does Shedeur other stuff, does it concern me a little bit? Definitely. But translation to the NFL, I like Dillon Gabriel. I do. He's got a strong arm. He's a good athlete. But damn, he plays small. He looks small. And there are plays that I watch in games and go, that guy's open and he can't see him or feel him, or he just wants to get it out of his hand because he doesn't want to get crushed by everybody, right? So, yeah, I like Shedeur there better. But, Shedeur's approach has to change. Even to this, let me just say this because I got to say this too. Did you see after the draft, after he got drafted, the Louis Vuitton luggage with $1 million in it? First off, who gave him $1 million in cash? I'd like to know that, first off, okay? Second off, I'm just going please
Why?
Stop digging holes for yourself.
Just make things quieter.
Just stop. It's most teams don't want the quarterback that's going to do that. I'm not trying to be a jerk. This has nothing. This is about football, and football.
Right.
And when the quarterback becomes in a locker room and it's $1 million worth of jewelry and kind of look at me, and that's, I'm just saying what we're seeing here. I'm not trying to judge. I know he loves football and they'll do the stuff like that. But still, we know how old school coaches are. And those are the kind of things where they're like, our quarterbacks, Louis Vuitton, $1 million. Another Rolls Royce. Diamond chain. The old school faction of the football just rolls their eyes at that. And that's where I just wish he would stop digging a hole there. But back to the main point. What do? Right? Do you go with a Kenny Pickett and go, wait, he's kind of in the prime of his career? And do we keep him? Or is he better trade bait because of that? And then we keep Joe Flacco? But I would think one of those veterans
is in trouble.
Is he in trouble? Because you're not going to get away with putting Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel on the practice squad.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
No, they'll get claimed.
Right?
And at some point, I almost feel like you got to release one of these veterans or trade them soon. Because how does everybody get reps?
That was my number one
you have
question.
4 quarterbacks. How do they all? And I would say, how do they get good reps?
Right. Yeah,
does
that's
it
the
matter
point.
if I watch Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel go against all of the other drafted, undrafted guys that at the back of the roster that probably won't be here? Do I get any value out of watching that? I remember just paying attention to different quarterback competitions and hearing coaches say hey, it didn't make sense. So that this guy played with the starters today, not because he's going to start or we see a change in the depth chart. Simply because we need to
just
see
got to see him against those guys. Everybody
Yeah.
looks good against the fifth string
Exactly.
on the team right now.
So
Right,
I just
right.
don't know what Cleveland's plan is
Yeah.
to keep 4 guys. How do you decide? You have to make some decisions before actually watching these guys, which a lot of people feel man, that's messed up. But Joe Flacco's an older guy. Is Joe Flacco the guy that you say, hey, I have to keep him in the locker room? Or do you say, hey, we need to move on from Joe Flacco? Or do you tell him, hey, coming in, hey, you're not our guy. We would love to keep you here.
Right.
We're going to pay you to be a mentor, basically.
Right.
Does he want that?
I know. I know.
don't
That's
know.
where I don't know either. I got no inside info here and all this. I don't know if you got anything to say about it, Connor. But yeah, I mean, it does feel like
a shit show.
It's a
The
shit show.
process is what I just can't wrap my
No.
head around. And I'll echo what you guys said. I love this draft. Like, they got a lot of talent across the board in this draft. We didn't even get to the running backs yet, where they got two
Which is
good
huge,
ones.
Yeah.
But I just, Devin brought up the reps. That's my number one question. What was the process here? Did you go into the draft saying we're going to take two guys and hope one
No,
hits?
they
No,
did
you
not.
didn't. You did not.
No, this is what happens when either the owner gets involved
That's
or
my
you
first
follow
thought.
That's what I
analytics
thought.
board to a T.
Where you
It's
go with
one
the
of the
next
two.
best guy.
And I said this to Andrew Berry 2 years ago. I asked him, I said, it seems like you guys lean on analytics more than any other team in football. And he looked me right in the eye and he said, that's totally fair to say. We do.
That was his
And that's
whole
what it feels
hiring,
like.
was
right.
that he was able
and
to bring
Paul
that side.
DePodesta's there and all of that, the chief strategy officer. So, yeah, that's where you wonder. And, again, that's where the human element gets lost when you just play numbers all the time. The running back thing's real easy. Quinshon Judkins. He's made for the NFL. He's a made bell cow running back.
Tough 3 times.
I would not tackle him if I was in the NFL right now.
Right. You're not.
I'm staying on the block.
You're doing a 5K walk this weekend, so you can't even run anymore. All right, there, old man. So yeah, we don't want you tackling him. Okay.
I mean, he's got borderline Saquon legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
When I
He's
met him at the
rocked up.
combine, I was like, no human being on earth should have to tackle
Right.
this guy
and
one
likes
on one.
delivering blows.
Oh yeah, he's going to be a star.
Yeah.
in my opinion. So the backfield looking really strong in Cleveland. The quarterback situation,
Not so
we're all
much.
going to watch how it plays out. Let's go back to the wheel. We are running out of teams.
We got about 3 teams.
Three
left
teams
here,
left
maybe?
here. The Bengals, Chargers, and Giants are all on the wheel.
Oh
And we
yeah,
go to
oh,
Big
G-man.
Another quarterback conversation here as they bring in Jackson Dart. But I think they were clearly prepared for this. That's why they went
Yeah.
out and got the 2 veterans on this team.
Right.
Yeah, I think this was their goal, right? How do we let Russ probably start the season, and then I don't know if Russ knows, but you're going to start the season and do what you do. When we get Jackson Dart in a comfortable position, we feel ready. We like the matchup. Everything else, we're going to put him out there, and he's
Right.
going to play.
Right.
And you'll be a backup, and Jameis will be a great guy in the locker room. He'll be able to learn from him. But this seems like this is all going to be in preparation to get Jackson Dart ready to play.
It definitely does. I mean, yeah, Russ is going to have to play really good football.
Yes.
They're going to have to be like 5-0, and he's like, and then they'll be like,
Yeah.
okay,
Which is
we
going to
can't
be
bench
hard
you.
with
right.
who's on their schedule if we go off last year.
Exactly right. Exactly that too. Also, it's a little different than the Cleveland situation. They got 4 because they got Tommy DeVito there as
Right.
well. Now, he could be a guy that maybe you could sneak by in practice squad. And with this, it is just one rookie in Jackson Dart. So, like, I've had a ton of people go, well, who's going to go, Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston? And I'm like, I don't think they have to get rid of either one. They don't. They could play Russell Wilson. Hey, Jameis, you're the backup for a while. We're not even going to rush Jackson Dart. And like you said, we're just going to kind of massage it and wait till he gets there. Then maybe one day we'll make him the second. And we know Jameis won't say anything. He's going to be a good guy and do that. And then we'll see if he can take that next step or how Russell plays and you make the move that way. But I don't think it's crazy to think that those 2 veterans will be on the roster throughout the year. I think everybody thinks that one of them's gone.
No, there's a plan.
I don't.
to have
I
those
think
guys.
there's a plan.
Unless somebody wants to trade for him.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody gets hurt in
back.
training camp or something, and they go, all of a sudden they go, wait, we need Russell or Jameis Winston. Then they can pivot and go, hey, want to use the starter? Jackson Dart's the backup, and Tommy DeVito's third.
Right.
So they got options here at least to play with a little. It's different than Cleveland situation. It does seem like they were prepared for this.
Yes.
Right.
2 teams left on the wheel of destiny, the Bengals and the Chargers. We got 1 spin left. We're not going to spin it with 1 team left on the board here. And we go to Cincinnati with the Bengals, and this is all about the pass rushers, guys.
Yeah.
Shamar Stewart against the vets, Joseph Asai, and, of course, Miles Murphy, a former day 2 pick as well. And, Devin, man, when Shamar Stewart walks in that building, those guys got to be like, damn, like this guy's just different with his size and speed.
And I saw people were talking about hopefully he has like a Danielle Hunter type of like coming out party once he gets to the NFL because he does have all the tools you love. Maybe not as productive as you would think coming out of college, but to me too, it's just like, so Trey Hendrickson, like is he staying? Is he going? Is like Are we looking at the wrong kind of matchups with these veterans? And is there a bigger sign that he won't be? Like that's my interesting thing of how do the Bengals get everything about going to win a Super Bowl? Like this team has talent, and this is gonna be like Shamar Stewart's gonna play somewhere. Like they're gonna figure out a way. But like, how do we just focus on winning? Like, why do we have to keep dealing with these other things? You know,
I know.
Like I felt like their first 2 picks were dealing with players on their team
Jermaine Pratt,
that they're not sure are going to be there.
Right.
And it's just like,
Replacements.
why?
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't be dealing with that.
No,
you know?
no, I'm with you. I actually kind of brought you up today on PFT a little bit just because it was like, yeah, they're ready. They're in the window. They got Joe Burrow. At the end of the year last year, you know, I kind of said, like, hey, Football Night in America, they made fun of me because I picked the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl. And at the end of the year, you and Jason Garrett were like, if they get in the playoffs, they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
You're right.
right. So, but there's that's like, to your point, though, they're ready, and they don't need this. And I would hope they get it done with Trey Hendrickson. I don't think that I look at this to go, Shamar Stewart is a replacement for Trey Hendrickson. I'm looking at it as they're going to get Hendrickson done. And Shamar Stewart, the production and all that, we know that's a question and all of that, right? You know what I like to say, disruption is production. So people got to look at that a little bit. You play up, you're producing a lot of good stuff right there in that. Okay, so there's that aspect of it. And I think he is one of the safest picks in the draft. They need somebody that can play Baltimore and Pittsburgh right now. And one thing you can question how many sacks he'll get and all that. The one thing I won't question is he's not going to be overpowered by anybody or any team. It's never going to be a mismatch problem and go, we got to hide Shamar Stewart. He can't do this. He's going to be able to take everybody on. I like the pick, and I think, you hit it right, too. The second-round pick with the linebacker from South Carolina, he's, to me, a guy that's ready, too. So if Jermaine Pratt does get traded or whatever else, they go, wait, he can play. This guy can play and do that. But I think it's Shamar Stewart all the way, and I would be shocked if Trey Hendrickson doesn't get signed up and they're a tandem together.
Right. It feels like the argument was that now Trey Hendrickson has to get done because this team didn't have a second guy across from him. 17.5 sacks last year. The next guy had 5.
I know.
So the whole point is to get somebody that is a disruptor that gets some of the matchups.
I think so too. Right.
So hopefully
they'll find the magic touch here with Trey Hendrickson. Get a 2-year deal.
He doesn't want to sit out.
I wouldn't think so. And I think he's got to look at it and go, damn, I'm on a team there. I'm good. Al Gold's
I'll make more money doing it.
I'm going to make more money, and we're going to be good.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, Cincinnati, get it done. Like you're too good. You're in a window, and you're one of the few teams that Kansas City's scared of in all of football.
Right? Our last team, guys, the Chargers here. Oh, Pete's making a spin.
Oh, look at that, Pete.
You know,
he wanted one more touch of that.
That's fair. Let's see where it lands. I landed on the Chargers. Omarr Hampton, their first-round pick at running back after they bring in Najee Harris this offseason at wide receiver. In the second round, they draft Trey Harris after they bring in Mike Williams. And, of course, Quentin Johnston is still on this roster. I mean, this just feels like Harbaugh wanted his skill guys now to kind of slowly take over here.
Well, like, I didn't get a chance to talk to Devin about this, but first off, like, size is back in favor in the NFL.
Yes.
Like, right? I mean, the first 3 rounds was just like big person receivers, like big receivers. It just is, that's everybody. It's like going back to old school football here a little bit, right? Like when you first started in the NFL, I was working in New England, and it was the whole transition of like.
My first matchup was T.O.
Right.
Then it was Vincent Jackson.
Right.
Like,
right. So you saw those guys. Right. And they were in the process. I can still remember Nick Caserio and people in New England going, the league's about to get smaller. We're going to start looking for linebackers that are really safety size. We're going to start looking at safeties that are really corner size.
I was a corner, and I moved to safety.
So that it was starting right there, but it feels like now, and the league is cyclical that way, that we're going back into let's be big like the Patriots were, or like Baltimore, Detroit, or Philadelphia are right now. And of course, that's Jim Harbaugh, and he's Michigan, bigger than everybody. When he was with San Francisco, they were bigger than everybody, right? So this one, like, first off, the running back one, come on. It's Omarr Hampton. That's not a I mean, Najee Harris got a 1-year, $4 million deal again.
He's a first-round pick on a running back.
Right,
Like,
and Omarr Hampton's damn freaking good. So he's the guy there. The receiver one's the question, the question mark. I mean, I like Trey Harris a lot, right?
Too.
And I think he's a big-time playmaker as a bigger type of receiver. I would be shocked if he's at least not heavily involved in the offense.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Harbaugh, consistency and being able to rely on guys just feels like that's important to him. And I think with Quentin Johnston, I think it's to the point where it's like, we're not giving up on him.
Yeah, but we're not
also,
sure.
Yeah, we're also not going to go into another season and say, if it's 3rd and 5, we want to throw him the ball. Like I don't think they want to be in that situation. So I think they are trying to find who are going to be the reliable guys. Like, they know Lab McConkey, like, hey, he's our guy.
Right.
He's a smaller guy.
Yep.
Like, I don't know how much you can say, like, every time we go to him and he's going to make it through this. Like, I think they're worried about this. So how do you get guys on here? And I think now Trey Harris, they're hoping he turns into that. I don't think Harbaugh gets guys where he's like, I need this receiver to be. Omarion Hampton, I need him to be whatever.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's what he cares about more.
Right.
I need you guys to be reliable. I need you to be where you're supposed to be and catch the ball.
They never been a one there. He's never been a guy that's been like, let's get after the sexy receiver,
Yeah.
the diva receiver who's going to yell and want the ball all the time. That's not his style. That's why I remember last year we had the conversation where I was like, I don't think Malik Neighbors is going there. That doesn't seem like a hardball pick.
And they
He
took
doesn't
Lad
wanna deal with
McConkey
that.
later on.
Right. They took Joe All, and then they were like, let's take the receiver who says nothing ever. Let's take Lad McConkey. He fits here.
Are you surprised, though, that they haven't invested, like, in the tight end position?
A little.
Like, I look at what Lamar Jackson had, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
in Baltimore.
Harbaugh's whole history.
Yeah,
of,
with Kaepernick, and you had Vernon Davis, you had Delaney Walker.
Exactly.
You just had these tight ends that you did different things with, and with that's what Greg Roman when he was with Lamar. It just seems like tight ends, athletic tight ends, would fit that offense.
I
really
thought
well.
if Loveland
That
was
was what I
there,
thought,
they
too.
would go Loveland.
Yeah,
but
it's
obviously the
never gonna
league viewed him
happen.
as higher and better than we thought. Disley's not bad. Right,
Yeah.
Tyler Conklin's not bad, but you're right. And that's
I don't
gonna be
think they
something
would
next
feature
year.
those
Right,
guys,
they're not
though.
going to feature him. In their perfect world, I think you guys are saying it right. They probably they would love to have Quentin Johnson outside, Trey Harris outside, and let Lad McConkey work the middle of the field and do all of that stuff. But we'll see where it goes because you're right. I don't think they are. Johnson's not in the trust tree yet.
Yeah.
He can't be. How could he be? We'll see where it goes. But they made some good moves in the draft.
A lot of the names we talked about today, guys, show up on the Offensive Rookie of the Year odds, courtesy of our friends at DraftKings. No surprise, Ashton Genty tops this list at plus 200. Cam Ward right behind him at plus 230. A bit of a gap. Travis Hunter's on both the Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year boards.
Yeah.
Tyler Shough at plus 1,200, indicating that they think he has a good chance to start. T-Mac, Tet McMillan, plus 1,400. Omarion Hampton, plus 1,600. Quinshon Judkins has been my favorite play of this just because he's a long shot at plus 1,800. I think he's going to be a star in Stefanski's
I hear you
scheme.
there. I hear you there. I mean, here's a few other ones down the line that I'll throw at you. I mean, could I see Travion Henderson having some huge year and a bunch of touchdowns in Josh McDaniels' offense? Certainly him or my guy Kyle Williams.
Right.
Again, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it was Stephon Diggs and Kyle Williams as the starting receivers, and they get him the ball, and he's going to be able to run all these routes McDaniels likes. So that's a value one. The other value one.
I'm a Patriots fan.
I
Too much time
I am
together.
a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie. I definitely like that. The other one that we brought up during the show is the RJ Harvey. I was just because we know he's gonna get the ball, right? So that's and they know how to throw the ball, and Sean Payton, even though he's always famous for his pass game, runs the ball a lot more than people want to give him credit for. He'd be one down the line that I'd go watch out for.
I agree. Ashton Genty, like it sounds great. It's gonna be tough for him.
Yeah.
Till they get more weapons and stuff out there. Like I think he'll help. Same thing with Cam Moore. Like I get it.
Yeah.
I think we've all fell into the trap a little bit of these young quarterbacks coming in and taking the league by storm.
Right.
C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels, but I do think this year is a chance that one of these guys that don't have all the pressure on them, if their team's able to have some success, they might be a huge reason why, and they won't be like the star player of the team.
Yeah, right. Like the Chargers go to the playoffs again, and Omarion Hampton has 1,200 yards rushing and 14 touchdowns. Like, yeah, he's going to win Rookie of the Year.
Right.
And he's going to do it. So there's a lot of good options this year in this one.
DraftKings Sportsbook is your home for live betting, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Just download the app, use the promo code UNBUTTON when you sign up.
DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Why didn't you join?
We'll get Devin in on it next
Come
time.
on,
It catches you the first time.
that was
I was surprised.
I just follow. It says Chris and Connor.
Oh,
Reed,
you were supposed to write three-way, Pete.
That's Pete's fault.
Three-way.
That's Pete's fault.
Threesome. You're supposed to do it that way. Reverse Oreo cookie is what you were supposed to put there. That's what we had today.
He's ending the
Great show. And you can't spell Chris without HR. I told you. And hopefully now you all believe that out there. But no, seriously, everybody subscribe, rate, and review. You know where to find us. And I appreciate my man with the top button swag coming in, giving us some knowledge. Devin McCourty, Connor Rogers, thanks as always. You are the man, the best fill-in host, the best side piece I've ever had in my life, okay?
It's a great 7
Some
times.
side piece is sick somewhere in the world right now.
And show your pecs at the Derby, okay? All right, get going, all right?
No undershirt.
Monday, Ahmed will be back. You know what we'll do. We'll break things down. Hopefully we're going to have a few guests coming up here around the NFL that will do some interviews. But everybody be good. Enjoy the Derby. NBC, Saturday. Find that. Watch that. It'll be cool. Peace out, homies. Clap it up. Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.